Hi guys, hope you're well. So we are going to do a delicious expression of sausages. You're going to love it. We're going to do it with a gorgeous mash on a little flatbread. Really, really nice. This is my new book, Together. We've got all kinds of different chapters, and this one I absolutely love. This chapter was called Autumnal Fare. That's what we're going to do. Let me show you how to do it. So here we've got 12 sausages. So we've got a gorgeous Toulouse sausage here. Then we've got beautiful Cumberland sausages, so a classic. And then we've got some pork and apple sausages. So look, you can get any singular sausage you like. So just mix them up like that. And I'm going to show you a really cool little hack. So you want 2 onions, give or take, 1 white, 1 red. I'm going to peel them, and then I'm going to cut them into quarters, just like that. And take them apart into little petals like that. And these will be perfect to cook in between the sausages. So get the onions, just put them to the side. And then I'm going to show you how to load them up onto our skewers. Flatten out the sausage so they're all roughly around the same length, like that. And then I'm going to do each one of these into 4. So this will serve 8 people. That's where we're going to put our skewers. So we're going to roast it as one thing. And then once it's cooked, we can cut through it. So I'm just using regular kebab skewers like that. And then what you can do is just put the skewer through the sausage, through the onion, then through the next sausage. Then I'm going to pick up the opposite, little white like that. And I'm just going to keep loading it. Doesn't really matter what order you do it. We get the second one, let's go again. Basically, like loading up a normal kebab. And then do exactly the same with the other one. So, I like what we've done. Give it a little drizzle of olive oil. What we're going to do now is roast this for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit, until golden and delicious and cooked through. Now, next, beautiful red Leicester mash. So here I've got 1.5 kilos of lovely Maris Piper potatoes that I've peeled and cooked for about 12-13 minutes until nice and cooked. Once you've drained them, just let them steam for a little bit, like that. Okay, so I'm going to use this hot pot to start melting my butter. I'm going to use a nice knob of butter into the pan, like that. And then I'm going to add these cooked potatoes like this, and while it's nice and hot, I'll add a little swig of milk. I'm using red Leicester. I'll cut the cheese in half and remove that little bit of skin. You can get about 130 or so grams of the grated cheese in there. That'll give it an amazing texture, ooziness, seasoning. Just look at that, look at the colour. Now, we're just gonna mash it up, and you can kind of keep it sort of smashed and a little bit more rustic, or just keep going if you want it silky smooth and shiny. So mash is done, sausages are cooking. Here I've made some lovely, simple, humble onion gravy. Just get a load of onions, slice them up, salt, pepper, in a pan with some olive oil, sweat them off for about 10-15 minutes until they're soft. Then I go in with some vinegar, just to give it a sort of twang. You can add a little herb if you want. And then I add a blackberry or blackcurrant jam, just to give a sweetness and a colour, and then a little flour and stock. So, next, let's check the sausages. They've had about 25 minutes. They should be looking good. To make this perfect, then a little kiss of honey on the top will glaze these beautiful sausages. So I would just pop that back in the oven for a minute, and then let's serve up. I'll serve this on a nice board. The whole point of having a flatbread or a tortilla is that it's handheld. If you're inside and you've got a gas hob, literally put it on like that and give it 5 seconds, turn it. You want to lightly heat it up and char it. So there we go. I've got my little flatbread there. I like to put the lovely mash on the top like that and just kind of push it around. Let's get that amazing sausage kebab out. Look at that. Just that little last minute, it's worth it, I promise you. Look at that. Oh! So we can take our knife now and cut in between the little kebabs like that. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I'll come along with just a little bit of that onion gravy and then our little bit of slaw here. Come on. Right, finger on the last sausage, pull out the kebab, right? Then just fold up this beautiful package. Oh, find a little quiet corner. Make sure no one's around. Go away, everyone. It's kind of like amazing, delicious, filthy. It feels naughty, but it's nice. Oh, it's got stodgy, it's got crispy bits, crunchy bits. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please enjoy the book, get cooking, I've got to eat this and then clear up. Hello, you lovely people. I'm going to give you an epic, satisfying veggie bake. It's from my new cookbook, Together. And in this dish, we get 5 of our daily fruit and veg in one portion. So let's get going. 3 onions. I've peeled these up. Just finely slice the onions like that. In the casserole pan, add yourself a nice little slug of olive oil. I'm going to add the onions in, and we want to get the sweetness out of these. Guess how many garlic? 3. Right, so we'll finally slice some garlic. Pan, oil, garlic, onions with pepper, a little seasoning with salt. I'm going to use coriander. Guess how many teaspoons? 3 goes in. Also, what I'm going to add is tapenade. 3 heaped teaspoons of tapenade goes in. The next thing I'm going to do is start kind of scalding and toasting these veggies in a dry pan, no oil. Cut the sweet potato carefully in half and basically chop it into 3 centimetre chunks. So we get these going in the pan. And as these get done, I'll add them into here and then replace them with the next vegetable. Just give it a nice little toss like that. So I'll cut these courgettes exactly the same size as the sweet potato, 3 centimetre rough chunks. So if you have a look at the onions, you can see they've shrunk down massively. That means you've concentrated the flavour. So the sweet potatoes go in, and we go in with the courgettes, and we do exactly the same. In the meantime, we'll get our peppers out. The way I prep them is just get my thumb, push it down where that stalk is. We'll get rid of the seeds. With the peppers, exactly the same, 3 centimetre chunks. Then on the mushrooms, we're just going to take these off and break them. These courgettes, they're charred. They'll go in, and to replace those, we'll go in with the peppers. So look, all the veg is in there now. You can see how it's kind of reduced in volume. This pan here, just wipe it clean. That's good to go. And what we're going to do now is now introduce the wet stuff. So we're going to go in with some lovely tin tomatoes. Just put them into your pan. I put them in my clean hands and I just crush them up. And what you do is you get a nice kind of broken up tomato. Fill up 2 of these tins with water, and I'll simmer that now for about half an hour. So here's the stew. It's had its half an hour simmering. It's all cooked beautifully. It's seasoned up good and it's cooled down. Let's put it together now. It has got that kind of vibe of a lasagna, but instead of pasta, we're using phyllo pastry. Get a nice tin, and I'm going to get a herb. I'm using oregano, and I'm going to dip that into oil like that, almost like a brush, and I'm going to lubricate this tin. Just push the phyllo into the corners like this. All but 2 sheets of phyllo we're going to put in and around. So just take 3 or 4 sprigs of the oregano like that. This I will save to put on the top at the end. So first layer, 300 grams of basmati rice goes in, uncooked. We're also going to go in with 1 tin of drained beans. I'm using butter beans, and then we're going to go in with our veggies here. In we go. So push the veggies around. I'm going to take 1 or 2 layers of phyllo, just lay them over like that. Then take the little edges and kind of tuck it in to bed, right? And that's going to be a beautiful thing. What I might do is just use that oregano and the oil again. So we're going to cook this at 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. Let's get that in the oven. I tend to put it down the bottom. So our epic, satisfying veggie bake is about to come out of the oven. It's looking great, smelling great. I want to show you the easiest white sauce ever. I use 1 tub of gorgeous yogurt, 500 grams, and get that in a bowl. Then 3 eggs go in, lovely free-range eggs, and then 100 grams of feta cheese. Break it up. Fairly chunky. We're just going to beat this up, and as soon as the eggs, yogurt and cheese have mixed, that's it. It's that simple. So now's the fun bit. Let's get that incredible bake. Okay, golden, smelling amazing. Get your little spoon, and I want you to break it, and you're creating all those amazing little shards, and then you simply get your incredible white sauce and pour it over. Oh my Lord, it's going to be so good. Take the spoon and just push it to the edge. And then the rest of this oregano, we can just sprinkle on top. So this goes back in the oven now, still at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, but we're going to put it in the middle of the oven for about half an hour to 40 minutes until this is gorgeous and golden and lovely. So let me show you this beautiful dish. It's ready. It smells absolutely amazing. Look at that. Gnarly, golden, gorgeous, and it's got layer upon layer of texture and flavour. I like to let it sit for about 10 minutes. Let me show you how to portion it up. Just go to the middle and cut quite accurately all the way down to the bottom. Get your little fish slice and then pull it out. Come on. And that's all yours. a beautiful, generous portion of our humble, exciting, satisfying veggie bake. That in the middle of the table, nice big old salad, glass of wine, happy days. Let's try and get a little bit of everything. Is absolutely joyful. It's super, super good value to make. You can feed 8 people really generously and give them something that they've never, ever had before. Enjoy. Hi guys, I hope you're all really, really well. So I'm going to show you a beautiful side dish now. It's a fantastic slow roasted tomato salad with Orzo pasta. It's really fresh, it's really light. This is from my new cookbook, Together. And Together is about togetherness, something that we've all learned about or not about in the last year, since lockdown. So this is all about meals to make new memories. Each chapter is a whole feast, a whole meal. And this dish here, here's the Orzo pasta there. This is a fantastic side dish from a chapter that I absolutely love called Elegant Simplicity. You can cook this as a menu, or you can take individual recipes as they are, because they're really nice recipes. Now, the great thing about the recipes is I've written them in a new style, right? And this style is I write them in a way so you can get ahead of the game, so when your guests arrive, you're not stressing. So, let's do this beautiful salad. Get yourself the ripest tomatoes you can get your hands on. Try and get them on the vine. So, in with the vines and the tomatoes. So this is 1 kilo of tomatoes here. In here, the things that are gonna make it delicious are some seasoning, salt and pepper, like that. There's a secret ingredient, some beautiful harissa. And I'm gonna put a nice teaspoon of this in here. Now it's not hot, it's very, very gentle. We're gonna go in with a nice little kiss of extra virgin olive oil, a little splash of red wine vinegar, and we're gonna use 2 more things. Garlic, so just keep the skins on and just put a bulb in like that. In we go. And then last but not least, I've got some lovely spring onions. Just trim them off both ends, give them a wash, and these go in like that. Mix it all up, and this is like the perfect seasoning. Leave the vine on, right? First tip here, the vine will give you that kind of fragrance of the smell of tomatoes in the greenhouse. So with these tomatoes, they're gonna go in the oven for 1 hour. We're gonna slow roast them to really concentrate the flavors. So that'll go in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius, which is 300 Fahrenheit. All I've got to do now is cook some pasta. Now, this is Orzo. Let's have a little look at this. Orzo is a shape of pasta. There's 500 grams there, and I'm simply going to put that into some boiling salted water. Now, the packet says cook these for 12 minutes, so I'm going to cook it for 10 minutes, okay? I want it slightly al dente. Now, when that's 5 minutes in, what I'm going to do is get some frozen broad beans, then I'll refresh them both in a colander under cold water, and I'll show you what to do next. So the pasta, it's been beautifully cooked. I've run it under cold water so it's not cooking anymore, and that'll hold beautifully. With the broad beans, look at the colour. It's such a beautiful bean. And then if you want to, only if you want to, just pinch the skin and squeeze the bean out like that. Do I like eating them like that? Absolutely. They're delicious. But if you can be bothered and if you want to, you can peel them. That bit's done. We've had an hour in the oven here. The room smells absolutely amazing. And look what you get after an hour. It really is something very special. You can see how the tomatoes have just sort of confit almost in themselves. So all I'm going to do now is shake off these little vines like that. We'll take out the spring onions and just put them on a board. And we'll also take out the garlic. So just shake these tomatoes off the stalk like that. I want to push this through a coarse sieve. Reason being is I want to lose the tomato skins, right? Your trusty sieve is very helpful. And we just simply put the tomatoes in there, everything goes in. And then I'll use the spoon just to squash the tomatoes. The juice will flood out. We'll just keep pressing it until it's literally just pips and skin on this side of the coarse sieve. It's gonna be phenomenal. Now back over here, we've got 2 things we want to think about. The garlic here, just squeeze it out of the skins. Fork it up. Then I'm just going to use a knife to slice up the spring onions, and then let's get that into the sauce. So stir in those beautiful roasted spring onions and the lovely creamy garlic. Then I'll go back in with the gorgeous broad beans and the Orzo, and then I'll turn the heat up. Mix it up. When it's cooled down a little bit, it's add some beautiful fresh herbs. Things like mint, things like basil, dill, fennel. And what I like to do is put most of the herbs in there for flavour, and then save back some for sprinkling on top later. So get those lovely fresh herbs in there, really mix it up beautifully. I love it, the smell is amazing, it really is. A bit of seasoning needed. I'm gonna give it a little kiss of nice cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. Serve on a platter, in bowls, whatever you like. Look at the colours. I'll take some of those herbs and just sprinkle them over the top. A little optional extra here, because this is just gonna be a salad today. A tiny bit of feta cheese. There you go. My slow roasted tomato and orzo salad. Let's have a try. Hi guys, I hope you're all really well. I'm going to show you how to make the most beautiful dessert. It's a French toast panettone pudding. It's really quick to put together, around 15 minutes start to finish, and it's so good. It's perfect for this time of year when we get into the festive season because there's panettones everywhere. And this recipe is from my new book, Together. Now, this book is all about feasting, and I've done a feast for all kinds of different occasions. One of the chapters, one of the feasts in here is called Last Minute Feast. And the idea is, how can you do an incredible dinner party which is absolutely safe, secure, delicious, but easy and quick and makes it look like you've put a lot of thought into it. So this dessert is perfect. It's a win-win. So it's from that chapter, let's make it. It is so good. Get yourself a nice non-stick pan. First job is just take a little bit of butter, just like a nice knob, put it into here, and we're just gonna rub it around the bottom like that, and that's gonna give it a nice golden crispy outside. Next job, we're gonna take this beautiful panettone. Now, you could have leftover panettone, no trouble at all, or you could buy one. What I wanna do is cut 2 centimetre thick slices. Use a serrated knife for this, and use the length of the knife. So in a bowl, we're going to add into here 4 eggs, lovely free-range eggs. In here, we're going to add some extra flavour. So I've got some vanilla paste. Now, this vanilla paste, have a little look here. You can get this in the supermarkets. Of course, you can use a vanilla pod, but this paste is incredibly convenient. A nice, generous teaspoon of that goes in. A little sort of heaped teaspoon or so of sugar goes in. Whisk that up. Now, at this time of year, if I happened to sort of stumble and have a little bit of Baileys or sherry or Vinsanto, oh, by mistake, I might just put some of that in. But of course, if you've got kids around, you wouldn't put it in. So whisk that up, and that's it. What we do now is we put our lovely slice of panettone into our eggs, turn it around, and then we're going to take that lovely piece of panettone and place it in the bottom of the pan. So what I'm going to do now is make kind of a sandwich, okay? So there's 2 things that make this rock. I've got some beautiful tinned peaches here, so I'll just line those up and I'll just slice those. And of course, if you wanted to use pears, strawberries, cherries, then I'm going to take these gorgeous peaches and I'm going to put them on top of that piece of panettone in any old way. Stack them in there like that. Once you've done that, get yourself 100 grams of chocolate. I've got 70% cocoa solids. What I do now is just break it up into little chunks, and this will ooze and create little pools of chocolate. And then we got the second piece of panettone here, and we go back in to that gorgeous flavoured eggs like that. And I do 2 things at this stage, very simple. Pour any excess egg on top of our chocolate and fruit like that, and then simply go on top like that. That's it, guys. The job is done. With this dish, it's not only just quick to put together, but you could put that in the fridge the day before, no trouble at all, right? But when you come to cook it, you simply put it on a medium-high heat for about 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, just to get it going, just to get a little bit of golden colour. Put a little bit of icing sugar, which always makes me feel very festive. So on with some icing sugar, and then under the grill. So look, you can see we've got some sizzling happening. Just get a little knife, have a little kind of look underneath. If it's looking lightly golden, you're good to go. Then we can take it now from the hob to under the grill. The grill's on medium, and normally around 10 minutes is spot on, but basically when it's golden and caramelized and gorgeous, beautiful things are gonna happen. Okay, so it's had about 10, 12 minutes. Oh, look at that. Sizzling on the top. What's brilliant about the panettone is it is the smell of Christmas. So let's just serve it on a beautiful board. Look at that. Let's get in there and get a nice little slice. Come on. Let's have a little bit of icing sugar. It's that time of year. Let's make it look festive. Vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream. Look at that. That, my friends, is a gorgeous, gorgeous dessert. And have a little look onto the inside there. Look at that. Right, let's have a little try of this. Scrumptious. The peach and the chocolate is a thing of joy. That is literally the simplest little dessert ever. And it feels like you've really put a lot of time and effort into it. And it was as simple as that. Panettone, eggs, vanilla, chocolate and fruit. Happy days. Hi guys, I hope you're all really, really well. So in my new cookbook, Together, this is all about having people back together around your homes and the most incredible feasts. One of the chapters in here is actually a cocktail chapter, and it's really something that is close to my heart because a beautiful cocktail has this ability to disarm people, to empower people, and to make everything just feel beautiful. It's a great way, I think, to kick off any meal and actually finish it as well. So this, my friends, is a royal mojito. So let me show you the chapter in the book. I think it's pretty inspiring. It's basically my greatest hits of cocktails. The raw mojito kicks off with some lovely white rum, 50 mils. You can use a little measurer like that, 50 mils straight in. 25 mils of lovely lime. So with the lime, if you want to use a little bit of the zest for garnish, I think it's quite nice, smells nice, you can just use a little bit of knife skills like this. So we'll take that off. If you want to loosen those little capsules of lime and give it a little roll, you can smell those amazing oils. And give or take, I'm not going to measure it actually, give or take your average lime is about 20 to 25 mils. So that goes in, so you've got the freshness of the rum, then the beautiful smell and perfume of the lime and the acidity. Then we need to balance that with about 15 mils of sugar syrup. 15 mils, or to taste, of brown sugar syrup. Now, you can use white sugar syrup, brown sugar syrup, you can use a very neutral honey that's very kind of like flavor free. Sugar syrup is something that bartenders use all around the world. It's often made with white sugar and water, equal quantities of both, just brought up to a simmer until it goes clear, then you cool it down, bottle it up, and that's what you use to balance your cocktails. Now, of course, there's many different types of sugar with many different types of flavor and color. So this is a Demerara sugar syrup, so it's fun. Now, if you don't want to make that because it's a faff, and it can be, then I often just use a nice maple syrup. Really, really good. Similar flavor profiles, kinda, and really easy because I've always got it there done. So that goes in. Then I'm going to add some ice, and you can either stir it or shake it. Now what you can do as well is pick a lovely little mint leaf for garnish. So that goes there next to that lovely little bit of lime zest. And then these leaves here, just rip them off, put them in there so they kind of get pounded as you shake the ice. And if you want to, you can batch this cocktail. So in the book, I tell you all the different ways with food and canapes and drinks, how you can get ahead of the game. And batching your cocktail, which means timesing it by 5 or 10 or 20, you can do this the day before. So literally on the day, you're pouring it over ice in a glass. Easy, easy, easy. So let's give it a shake. And then I'll lose this from the glass. So I've chilled a nice little coupe glass like that. I'll pour this on top with your little mint leaf. Wind up this little garnish of lime zest, and then top up with the fizz of your choice. So it could be champagne, it could be, you know, cava, it could be prosecco. I've got a nice little bit of champagne here. And that, my friends, is the Royal Mojito, scented with the mint, the rum, that sweetness from the Demerara sugar syrup. Cheers.